Alfred Nobel. The name probably sounds familiar to you, or at least the last name anyway, because of its association with the prestigious Nobel Prize. The Nobel Prize is awarded each year to a person or persons for their outstanding contributions for humanity in chemistry, peace, literature, physics, physiology, or medicine. And the reason that the prize even exists today is one that you may find interesting. Hit it, Johnny! There's no one here named Johnny. I don't even know anybody named Johnny. Alfred Nobel was born in October of 1833 and died in December of 1896. He was a chemist, engineer, inventor, and armaments manufacturer. And he was rich. He held 355 different patents, of which dynamite is probably the most notable. Before he obtained the patent for this explosive, back in the day when people wanted to blow something up, they would use black powder, also known as gunpowder. Nobel's contribution to the field of explosives came when he discovered a way to more safely handle the extremely volatile liquid known as nitroglycerin. In its pure form, nitroglycerin is what's known as a contact explosive, which means that physical shock is what causes it to explode. And it degrades over time, becoming even more unstable. This makes nitroglycerin extremely dangerous to transport and use, and the handling of the substance becomes even more risky the older it gets. Like in that episode of Lost, where they find the dynamite on that old ship and that guy gets blown up. That was cool. But I digress. Nobel found that by essentially soaking up the nitroglycerin with a porous material, it was able to be handled with a lower risk of, blowing up in your face. But this discovery ultimately backfired because, well, now it was easier for people to handle it without it blowing up in their face. And if an organization like the military were to take advantage of this, then they could safely transport it somewhere and then blow it up in someone else's face. Because he was a weapons manufacturer, and because of the whole dynamite invention thing, he often wasn't seen as a really great guy. And unfortunately, he found out just how terrible his reputation had become in just about the worst way possible. In 1888, his brother Ludwig died in France, but a newspaper there thought Alfred was the one that had died, and they published the following statement. "The merchant of death is dead. Dr. Alfred Nobel, who became rich by finding ways to kill more people faster than ever before, died yesterday." Ouch, that's gotta be tough to read something like that about yourself. Needless to say, this made Alfred pretty sad, and he became super concerned with how people would remember him after he actually does die. And so, unbeknownst to his family, he signed his last will and testament and set aside the bulk of his estate to establish the Nobel Prizes to be awarded annually without distinction of nationality. His will stated that 94% of his assets were to be used to establish the 5 prizes, and in 2012, the capital was valued at $472 million after adjusting for inflation. Today, the name Nobel no longer holds that negative connotation, but is synonymous with the forward march of humanity towards a better future. And those few individuals who hold the distinction of being called Nobel laureates are often the ones leading the march. Man, that was beautiful. I ought to do this for a living. Outstanding contributions for humanity in peace, in chemistry, peace, literature, physics, medicine, and physiology? I don't remember. For their outstanding contributions for humanity in chemistry, literature, physics, peace, I swear, with a lower, it was able to be handled. And in 2012, the capital was valued at $472.